Yo, what up? It's Donut. This is the occult symbolism of Squid Games broken down, full of Easter eggs, symbology, and spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, don't watch this. Before we start, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for more occult updates. Squid Games began development in 2008 during the economic collapse. It is a very well thought out series. If something is in the frame and in the shot in a scene, it is there for a reason. These directors are very smart and do the research. In today's video, we will discuss and show you the occult symbols hidden in the Squid Games. Today's times is no different than the Roman Empire during the Colosseum and gladiator games. Today we have a record amount of people watching football. Football is just a sport that's violent and mimics warfare. The football stadiums are designed as an Illuminati eye, and it is the new Colosseums of today. We went from gladiator games to the Squid Games. This series is one of the most popular shows of all time. To the breaking point, network servers started suing Netflix due to high traffic rate of people consuming the programming. The release date was on September 17th. This is on purpose. It goes back to Rome. September is Latin for septum, meaning 7. In the show, there are technically 7 games, if you include the last game with the old man. They had a meeting on the 7th floor in a building called Sky. This is symbolism. It's the 7th floor in a building called Sky, and they played their 7th game together. This is why you have shows like 7th Heaven. 7 heaven means 7th sky. It symbolizes the highest heaven where God and the most exalted angels dwell. Even down below, there was an angel cake restaurant. And the god of the Squid Games, the old man, was there on the 7th floor. They played this last game 30 minutes before Christmas. It symbolizes Saturn. The Roman holiday Saturnalia is the worship of Saturn, also known as Father Time, as Saturn rules time and is known to be the Grim Reaper. This is why the scene was focused on the grandfather clock, time running out, and the character dying from Father Time, the Grim Reaper, symbolizing Saturnalia, or what we call today Christmas. Originally, the show was going to be called Round 6, but they changed it to Squid Games because of the 6 games they played. All the games were surprises for the players, but all the games were hidden in plain sight on the walls where they slept. And all the symbols that we see today that the occult use are in plain sight, hidden in plain sight. And we will reveal this. If we go back to Rome and the date the show was aired on September 17th, it is the same time the Ludi Romani Roman games happened. These games included fighting and sacrifices, just like the Squid Games, held in honor of Jupiter. Even in the beginning of the show, they're playing Frank Sinatra's song where he talks about Jupiter. All roads lead to Rome. This show speaks of real life issues, human trafficking, organ harvesting on the black market, dark web snuff films, and the wealth gap between the elites and common people, plus gambling addiction, which is a real huge issue and affects the lives of many people. Even the way the show is designed, it always ends with a cliffhanger, making you addicted for more episodes in a season 2.
Green light. Rare 100% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's #1 in 90 countries. Netflix daily app downloads just hitting their highest levels of the year, thanks in part to its new hit show, Squid Games. Red light.
America used to be known for creating great films out of Hollywood because America was known as a country where there was freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and now the PC culture has thought-controlled Hollywood and America that we can't put out any more good films. So thank you, South Korea, for putting out good movies, like one of the greatest films of all time, Parasite and Snowpiercer, which exposed the Illuminati elite as well in the wealth gap divide. Movies are the highest form of art because it uses all mediums of the creative. You got music, soundtracks, cinematography, acting, writing, set design. This show even paid homage to great artists. The cop's brother, the frontman for the Squid Games, in his abandoned apartment building, he had books like Picasso. He even had Catcher in the Rye, which is a known MK Ultra Illuminati mind control book that people would read it and then carry out missions of assassination. The stairs that we see is MC Escher's Stairs of Relativity. And the book shown is The Emperor of Light and books of Picasso. The Emperor of Light is also where the Exorcist beginning scene was inspired by. And we see this inspiration during the Squid Games of all the bright clouds and atmosphere and the destruction and death mixing between the two. Even the music was used like they used in Jaws and The Godfather, showing the killers before they show up. Very, very well thought out production. In the show, the winner wins $45.6 billion, which is $38 million in US dollars. Many people claim that this film is anti-capitalist, but I disagree. There is a difference between capitalism and corporatism. There's a difference between the wealthy elite who have billions of dollars and your common millionaire or middle class family. The VIP section resembled the Rothschild Mansion Illuminati parties we saw in Eyes Wide Shut, or satanic parties as well. These VIPs bet on the players for $1 million as if $1 million was only $20. And the show foreshadows everybody's fate. One of the VIP elite says he never makes good bets and always loses, and he chose a servant to please him who ended up knocking him unconscious.
Underscoring the idea that America's economic inequality just isn't sustainable. The obscene riches that the wealthy are stashing in secret. Get to why I'm wearing this tracksuit. Squid Game.
Red light.
The elite, like Jeffrey Bezos, is promoting the show. It's being promoted by the mainstream media. It's definitely a show they want the masses to get used to, because this could be a plan for humanity's future.
With crushing education, healthcare, and housing debt, would Americans be willing to sign up for their own Squid Game?
Just like the fiction book 1984 in Brave New World predicted a dystopic future of the world we live in today. Clockwork Orange, created by Stanley Kubrick, who many believe he filmed the space landings, and those tapes coincidentally went missing for a while, made movies about the Illuminati in Eyes Wide Shut, starring leader of Scientology, Tom Cruise, filmed in a Rothschild mansion full of esoteric symbolism, which is very similar to the VIP elite of the Squid Games with their Illuminati mask on. Clockwork Orange was known for exposing the MK Ultra mind control operations, famous for using the quote, ultra violence. And that is the exact same quote the mainstream media news is saying about the Squid Games promoting it, ultra violence. A lot of the Netflix series and TV shows and movies that they're pushing, and also the mainstream media and mainstream media conglomerates are pushing, have the exact same premise of Squid Games, of the common man wealth divide of the elite. Because the elites are planning a Hegelian dialect of problem reaction solution for universal basic income and healthcare, pretty much communism, but delivered on a pretty platter by billionaires. You will own nothing and be happy. Netflix's connection with the elites and propaganda goes deep. Great uncle is Edward Bernays, who wrote the book Propaganda, the blueprint for the world elite to use media manipulation via actors in movies to achieve outcomes they want. Edward Bernays' uncle was Sigmund Freud, who revolutionized the 1800s, bringing the subconscious mind to the public, and hypnosis mind control is used by tapping into the subconscious. He even had a theory of the human death drive, which goes along perfectly with this show and the way the world thinks during these crazy times. The death drive, it is the drive towards death and destruction, often expressed through behaviors such as aggression, repetition, compulsion, and self-destructiveness. Very similar to the state of the world we are in, and very similar to the show. Reed Hastings is also building a re-education camp in a secluded location. Squid Games is in a secluded island for the elite to play their horrific games. Very similar to Epstein Island. Bohemian Grove is secluded to do weird rituals with the US presidents. This is just another example how TV shows mimic reality. Netflix television programming, because that's what it is, programming, it is used for propaganda and predictive programming. So many similar shows with the same theme as Squid Games to normalize this sick stuff to bring it in the consciousness of the mainstream. And I'm not saying that this show's not great. I'm a fan of the show. People are quoting the show and saying how evil it is and whatnot. That's pretty much like watching Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut and being like, it's evil because it has the Illuminati in it. But it's not an evil film. It's exposing what's really going on. The themes in this movie and series and all the movies and series they're rolling out goes with the agenda that the elites do want to push in the coming decades. Here are some movies similar to Squid Games. Snowpiercer, about the inequality of the world, where there was an uprising orchestrated by the elites to depopulate. Hunger Games, a story of different districts, similar to Agenda 21, breaking off states into districts. Everyone was in poverty, and the games were created by the wealthy elite for depopulation every year. The movie Parasite showed the inequality. Soylent Green showed the inequality of the elites versus the poor, and how the elites fed the poor human meat. The story actually took place in 2022. Is this on our horizon? Tank Girl took place in 2033. The lack of water separates the elite from the poor. Mad Max took place around 2050. The lack of fuel sparks a global financial collapse. Hostel, especially Hostel 2, showed how the elite hunt humans. Eli Roth, the director, said his inspiration for the movie goes back to 2004, where he was seeing an ad for hunting poor people by the elites. The movie The Hunt showed how the elites hunt humans. Alice in Borderland on Netflix came out in 2020. An aimless gamer and his two friends forced to complete a series of sadistic games to survive. The Purge, hunting humans. Netflix also came out with 3%, where most of the population lives in poverty and the elite group live in a virtual paradise. Every year, each 20-year-old gets a chance to make it to the island, taking in a series of tests. Would you rather on Netflix? A woman attends a dinner party where she must partake in life-threatening games to help her sick younger brother, as The God's Will is very similar to the Squid Games. And Quentin Tarantino's favorite movie of all time, Battle Royale, where junior high school students are forced to fight to the death by a Japanese totalitarian government. Are these movies warming us up for something big, as 1984 and Brave New World predicted exactly what was to come in the times we live in now? So many shows on Netflix are full of demonic and occult symbolism, and it's not by accident. Netflix Cutie Show should have had the entire website shut down. Coincidentally, Netflix released a show called Pandemic right before the pandemic happened. Is this fiction? How the workers of the Squid Games are so ruthless, psychopathic killers? Well, this is actually proven to happen in real life. The Milgram experiments. On Obedience to Authority Figures was a series of social psychology experiments conducted by Yale University. Yale University, where Skull and Bones is based out of. The Secret Society, the Order of 322. Even in the show, Episode 2, Player 119 was about to fight Player 322. They did studies on human cruelty, where the authority figures would wear sunglasses, but in the Squid Games they had masks on, and this was proven to keep the behavior of humans to become crueler and crueler. The guards are structured in a pecking order in 3 types: circle, square, triangle, hierarchy. Circle workers are the lowest ranking. They must answer to their superiors and only speak when spoken to. Triangles are armed soldiers. Squares are bosses. They keep triangles and circles in check. Scorpion bass player admitted to attending snuff parties with the elites paying $100,000 to see someone get killed. And that's what the VIPs pay for in the show. Why are you doing this? Killing us, the antagonist replies. You like horse race, right? Well, that's what you people are. Horses in a game. The Illuminati are preparing us for a World Hunger Games. This is why Lady Gaga at the US inauguration was wearing the Hunger Games attire. The people who control the world use AI algorithms to predict civil unrest. The social credit scoring system and facial recognition is used in the show Squid Games. Workers in the game are similar to the spy grid system by NSA. 201 is a huge Illuminati number. In the game, the first execution left the 456 players down to exactly 201. 201 is a huge Illuminati number. We have Event 201. Jeff Bezos and Elon are worth $201 billion. Jeff Bezos went to space on the 201 day of the year. The Office had 201 episodes, and you can see the Freemasonic checkerboards like you see in the Squid Games. The man who created the Illuminati on May 1st died November 18th, which was 201 days in between each other. 51 is an Illuminati number, and the vote if they were going to leave or stay in the games was up to choosing number 51. November 18th is the 322 day Secret Society Skull and Bones number. This is why Drake's song November 18th and his album and record label have the Bohemian Grove owl. And that same owl is the mask that player 001, the old man, was wearing, as he is the creator of the Squid Games. Illuminati mask for the VIPs in episode 7, we see it resemble Helen de Rothschild at the 1972 Occult Elite Ball. The Church of Satan shows a bunch of people wearing animal masks, embracing the animalistic side. Eyes Wide Shut had the Illuminati party. Weekend and Ariana Grande music video show this as well. And the Last Supper of the 3 remaining players had the Freemasonic checkerboards, and they ate on the Illuminati pyramid in the middle of the circle, resembling Royal Arch Masonry. The last 3 is the Trinity. They even made the players do a voting system, which divided them, like a political divide we see being used against us today with the right and left. But who really controls the right and left are the game's elites. Divide and conquer. It showed what people really will do for money. The green and pink are opposite on the color hue. That's why they showed the 2 colors of the players and the workers. Squid Game Archive showing it has been played for decades since 1988, and this game was being played in 2020. In the game, they are introduced to it by a Morpheus type character, like in the Matrix with the red and blue pill. This red tissue, blue tissue goes back to an urban legend in Japan, Akamanto, who appears to people using toilets. He will ask if they want red paper or blue paper. Choosing either option will result in the individual being killed. The creepy doll in the beginning is Yongki, originating from a Korean school textbook in the 70s and 80s. The show foreshadows the fate of each character. Duok-soo jumped off the bridge in episode 2, and he died by falling off the bridge. Ali stole money from his boss. He died because someone stole the marbles from him. Saibok threatened someone with a knife on their throat. She died when someone stabbed her on her throat. Song-woo tried to kill himself in episode 2. He died by killing himself. Ji-hun swore on his mother's life. His mother died in the end. In the bridge game, player 6 chooses 6 because biblically, that's the day God created man in the image of God on the 6th day. He was also the only player who was religious and prayed. Frontman shoots his cop brother in the shoulder, so he might still be alive to expose the games. The stepfather of player 456's daughter has an umbrella in a lot of scenes. The umbrella in the cookie game hints to maybe he's a part of it. The Last Supper was a steak dinner, and the stepfather took his daughter to a steakhouse on her birthday. The phone number on the card was supposedly a real number to a Korean man, and even political leaders are trying to buy that number for millions of dollars. This is all a publicity stunt. as I believe it's illegal to put phone numbers in movies. That's why every movie has 555 in phone numbers. The logo covers all symbols of the elite. The pyramid of the triangle, the circle would be the Illuminati eye, and the square is the Freemasonic square. Player 001 is showed subliminally throughout the series that he cannot die in the games. During the fight, he goes into the middle in the infrared, puts a triangle over his head, and the triangle is the military in the games, and he said he was scared to break up the games. And then that's when the military came in and broke up the games. The old man likes gambling and created the game. If he is 001's dad, they both have toxic gambling addictions in their lives. The old man never dies. You don't hear his body fall, whereas you hear everyone else's body fall when they got shot. He's the one who persuaded the main character to rejoin the game. He gets into the van willingly and no sleeping gas is shown. And he knew that all the games were going to be old games when they played as kids. And he also had the most fun on every game. The Squid Game's main character, number 456, his name, Song Ji-hun, in Gematria equals 456. Just like contestant 13 on Bridge Game was a glass worker, and glass is 13 in Gematria. Player 456's birthday is on October 31st, Devil's Night, although in the beginning it showed his birthday 0426. It may be a potential mistake, but the attention to detail in this is so on point I doubt it. It probably was his father's birthday, who most likely is the creator of the Squid Game's Player 001. 0608 is his daughter's birthday. The prize he wins for his daughter is the same way the coffins are created for the dead players. The gun he gifted his daughter symbolizes how the games are deadly. Player 456 and Player 001 could be related like Darth Vader and Luke in Star Wars. Player 456 does not show any father in his home he lives in with his mom, and Player 001 says he doesn't have grandkids for anyone to take care of him. And when he was dying alone, and had, which could be his son, visit him to play their last game. In the Marble episode, how the alley is the alley where 001 and 456 grew up, this is why they ran into each other in the same town before going back to the games. Another clue showing that 001 is 456's father was during the Marbles game. He said his son's birthday is coming up, which was around the time Player 456's birthday is on. Another clue that this could be his father is the connection to the police officer who lives in the same town who's investigating the games and finds out his brother is running the games. The policeman's brother's rent was due a week ago and he has been missing, showing that the people working in the game are in debt too. The files the policeman found dates the games all the way back to 1988. His brother won the game in 2015. 001's conversation with 456 about milk is a hint that he's his father, as he said that as a kid, I'm willing to bet you got spanked a lot. And 456 replied, how did you know? 001 said, my son did too. He was just like you. Player 456 worked at a car company and went on strike, and Player 001 remembers that strike in episode 5, saying, hey, someone died there too, right? But he doesn't say who. It was a very emotional scene for both of them because they both got very emotional over it, showing that it was important to both of them. There's several clues throughout the show that hint that 001 is 456's father. When 456 refuses to drink regular milk, 001 says his son hated milk too. The door of the house where 001 gets killed is the same door as 456's mother's house. When the policeman was looking through the files, file 001 was missing and it started with 002, showing that 001 wasn't in the system because he ran the system. Player 456 wins and only takes out $10,000 and lives like he always does and does not touch the money. He dyed his hair red, symbolizing his inner anger, and the red is designed to channel and reflect that inner rage out, the director said. The number 456 is 456. The number 6 is also the sum of these three numbers. 4 plus 5 plus 6 equals 15. 1 plus 5 is 6. And it also can equal 666, as you see here. So there's a lot of occult symbology behind this. And the reason why it's trending is because it has the things that people like the most. Sex and violence. You could even go back to Alfred Hitchcock's psychological thrillers that were just brilliant. None of them really made it big until he made Psycho, which was a box office smash because it had sex and violence, just like this show. Anyway, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It's Donut. Support us on Patreon for more exclusive content, and God bless you. Peace.